Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. Mother's Day is always a special time, and the dads always fuss at me. They said on Mother's Day, I say all the nice things about the moms, and Father's Day, I tell all the dads what they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
I learned Andy's one of them pointed that out last year, to which I respond as I always do. If mom ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So I learned to keep mom happy. In Preaching Today magazine, had an article a few years ago, and it was from a teacher. She saved some of her best responses for her second grade class, asking, questions about mom. And I love responses that kids give. Said that the first question they asked said, why did God make mothers? One child responded, she's the only one who knows where the Scotch tape is. Another one said, well, mostly to clean the house. My favorite one of these is, one of the children responded, to help us get out of there so we could be born. The next question was, how did God make mothers? One child responded, said he used dirt just like the rest of us. Another child said magic plus superpowers and a whole lot of stirring. Another one said, God made my mom just the same like he made me. He just had to use bigger parts. Teacher asked, what ingredients are mothers made of? God makes mothers out of clouds and angel hair and everything nice in the world. And it would have been good if this child would have stopped there. And one dab of meaning. Another child said they had to get their start from men's bones. Then I think God used mostly string, I think. And the last question, why did God give you your mother and not some other mom? One child said, because we're related. But my favorite by far is, God knew that she likes me a lot more than other people's moms like me. Well, we are here today to celebrate Mother's Day, and I've shared this several times. Moms are special, there's no doubt. I may have shared this last year, but it's always been one of my favorites, talking about how you know when you're a mom. There's a certain time that you realize that something's changed in your life. One of them, when you know every song to the last 5 Disney movies by heart, you know you're a mom. When you hope that ketchup is a vegetable because that's the closest your child ever gets to one. When you begin to daily run into the bathroom screaming like Quasimodo, sanctuary, sanctuary, because it's the only room in the house where you can find peace. My favorite, and I've seen my wife do this, when your child throws up and you catch it. When style becomes less important than stain resistance when picking out your clothes. You know you're a mom when you begin to talk to yourself just so you can have an adult conversation. You know you're a mom when you begin to hear your mother's voice coming out of your mouth. I remember, it happens to dads too. I remember one day I was fussing at Cody and I looked and I said, oh my gosh, that's my mama's finger. I was on the other end of that many times. You know you're a mom when you can't wait for your child's first day of school and then you spend the entire day crying because your baby is growing up. You know you're a mom when you read that the average 5-year-old asks 437 questions a day and then you realize your child is an overachiever. You realize you're a mom when not only has your opinion on corporal punishment changed, but you are now prepared to go to Congress and lobby for it. You know you're a mom when you begin to use your own saliva to wipe your child's face. You know scientific testing has proven that a mother's saliva and Formula 409 have the same chemical makeup. And you know you're a mom when you think at least once a day that you're not cut out for this job, but you wouldn't trade it for anything in the world? Well, we're here to celebrate moms today. If you have your Bibles with you, turn with me to Exodus chapter 2. Exodus chapter 2, and we're going to begin with verse 1. Exodus chapter 2. Beginning with verse 1. And once you found that, if you would, please stand in reverence to the reading of God's Word. It says, and a man of the house of Levi went and took as wife a daughter of Levi. So the woman conceived and bore a son. And when she saw that he was a beautiful child, she hid him 3 months. But when she could no longer hide him, she took an ark of bulrushes for him, daubed it with asphalt and pitch, put the child in it, and laid it in the reeds by the river's bank. As his sister stood afar off to know what would be done to him. When the daughter of Pharaoh came down to bathe at the river, and her maids walked along the riverside, and when she saw the ark among the reeds, she sent her maid to get it. And when she opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the baby wept. So she had compassion on him and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children." Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and call a nurse for you from the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for you?" And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Go." So the maid went and called the child's mother. Then Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child away and nurse him for me, and I will give you your wages." So the woman took the child and nursed him. And the child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. So she called his name Moses, saying, "Because I drew him out of the water." Father, as we come before you this morning, Father, we recognize our mothers, and Lord, what it means to have a mother's heart. Lord, there's a special connection between mothers and children. As I've said so many times, dads are so important. But Lord, there's just something special about moms. Father, I pray that during this time, Lord, as we look at this wonderful passage and the example of a mother who loved her child so much that she was willing to give him up in order to protect him, that Father, we'll just get a small glimpse of what a mother's heart truly is. A loving heart, a sacrificial heart, a protective heart for her children. Now, Lord, please be with us during this time. Father, may you be glorified. We ask and pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen. You may be seated. As I said earlier, God definitely made moms special. And we see this in Jochebed, Moses' biological mother. She loved her child so much that she was willing to sacrifice anything, willing to do whatever she had to do to make sure that this child was properly raised, to make sure that this child was provided for. And in this morning, we're going to look at a few things that make moms so special. Number one, moms are protective of their families. And that goes, I mean, in our world with human beings, but you even see that in the animal kingdom. You don't mess with a baby. Mom will come after you. I remember one day me and my dad were out just walking in the woods, and we came up on a bunch of little baby turkeys. They were about like this. And my dad reached down and got one, and out of nowhere a hen come flying in there, and she was all over him because he touched one of her babies. You don't mess with mama's babies. Mamas are very protective. Again, mamas are protective of their children and their families. First, they protect from physical harm. Jochebed knew that Pharaoh had called for the death of all firstborn Hebrew male children. Her number one goal was to protect this child. Moms are going to protect their children from any harm, any kind of physical harm, anything being done to them. If a child is picking on mama's baby, guess what? Mama's going to get fired up about it. Mama's going to be there to protect that child physically, but moms are also there to protect from emotional harm, to make sure that they give the emotional nurturing. Dads are not known for the emotional nurturing, are they? We go to mom. If your heart's broken, you're going to go to mom. You know, if you're upset about something, you're going to go to mom. Why? Because dad usually just tells you to suck it up. You know, that's life, you know. And dads have their place. We give a good balance, but we're going to go to mom when we want that emotional nurturing, because that's something that God placed into a mother's DNA. We live in a society today where everybody's trying to jumble the parts up, male and female roles. Look, God designed it that way for a reason. It's not that one is better than the other. They complement one another. I'm so thankful that God created our wives and created women with that nurturing heart, because it's something that we desperately need in our lives and we need in society today. So moms are there to protect emotionally, but they're also there to protect from spiritual harm. I believe that a lot of us in this room are here today because we had a mama praying for us. You know, moms will get on their knees. Moms will pray for that child, praying that all spiritual harm is kept back, to make sure that that child is raised upright. Look, over the years, it's just a fact. Dads, we've dropped the ball a lot of times. A lot of churches over the years would close their doors because dad was not there the way dad should have been. Moms were the ones bringing the children to church. I know, I served many years as a youth minister, and I wouldn't see dad on the scene a lot of times, but mom would be there bringing the children in. I thank God for our moms and the fact that they were there giving that spiritual support and spiritual leadership to their families. Moms are also there to protect their children from any kind of worldly influences. Moms are there giving guidance. Mom stays up worrying and praying for that child at night. Mom tries to make sure that the bad things on the outside don't get inside the home and do damage to the child. Moms are going to do everything they can to try to protect from those worldly influences around there. And sometimes moms are just there to protect us from ourselves, because sometimes we don't do the things that we need to do. You know, I look back, you know, as a kid, there's so many times I thought my mom was the meanest woman in the world because she wouldn't let me do some of the things I wanted to do. I'm probably alive today because my mom wouldn't let me do some of the things I wanted to do back then. You know, moms keep us in check, and sometimes we need protection from ourselves because we're not always good at making our own choices, are we? Sometimes we want to do things that are dangerous, things that are reckless. Mom's there to point those out. Moms are also, God made moms resourceful. Man, think about your mom's purse. Go look at mom's purse. Man, I can remember my mom's purse, Sandra's purse. You know, I used to call it her purse. Now it's our purse, because about half the time I've got as much stuff in our purse as she does. She just carries it. But you look in a woman's purse most of the time, they got enough bobby pins and nail files and everything else that they could bring down a charging rhino. I mean, everything under the sun is inside these purses. They've got mints. I mean, if you're going to walk up to one of the parents and say, do you have a piece of gum? You're going to go to mom, because you know she's probably got a 3-course meal in there somewhere. Mom's always got something in there. You know, and you think about it. I mean, every mom, if you look in their purse, they got every kind of improvisable tool known to man. They got a keychain wrench to fix the car and enough Tic Tacs to keep you from starving to death while Dad's fixing the car with that little keychain wrench. Everything you can imagine is there. So again, our moms, they have the ability to be very resourceful. You give them a can of Spam and man, they can make a 3-course meal out of it. I mean, it's a gourmet dinner. Moms have some kind of special ability to take something small and use it and make something good. As I mentioned earlier, one of the things that's most resourceful about mom that I always love, moms, if you got a dirty face as a child, did mom drag you all over the store looking for a bathroom or a water faucet or something so she could wash your face? Dude. No, she opened her purse, reached in there and pulled out a tissue, which may or may not have been clean, spit on the tissue, and began to wipe your face with it. Now that shows you how special moms are. Can you imagine you letting dad spit on a rag and wipe your face with it? Ain't happening. Moms can get away with that because moms are special. Again, God made our moms very resourceful. They can do things that other people are not allowed to do. Moms also have the ability to make the worst kind of pain go away. If you're hurting, if you got a broken heart, you go to mom. Mom's going to nurture. Now, if it's a little girl and some guy broke her heart, she's going to go to mom to get the nurturing. She's going to go to dad to have a hit put out of him. Mom's going to take care of her emotionally. Dad's going to take care of the guy physically. But we go to mom. Mom is there. When we're hurt, we go to mom. I mean, dad says, were you able to walk in here? Yeah, you're all right. Is the blood clotting yet? Yeah, okay, you'll be fine. I mean, dad's just, go on about it. But mom will sit there, well, we saw it today. Oh gosh, I just thought about it. We saw it today. Andy broke 2 toes. Yesterday. Mama comes off of, she worked probably 10-hour shift. Come off a 10-hour shift, drove all the way up here with a boot. And she's down on her knees after a 10-hour shift. Oh, let me wrap my baby's toes. And she's wrapping his toes and she's putting it in there. Yeah, mom is nurturing. Now, I am a dad. I'm sitting there laughing at him as mom's doing this. But we go to mom when we want. You didn't call your dad to come do that, did you?
I didn't ask her to do it.
No, you didn't have to. Moms automatically do that. That's what's so great about moms. Dads will say, well, you can still walk. Put a sock on it. It'll be fine. Mom came and took care of it. Andy's going to kill me later. I mean, I see y'all again. But moms, they're going to take care of us. They nurture us. And probably the most impressive thing that we see about moms when it comes to being resourceful is moms have the ability to get dad to do things that dad didn't want to do and then convince him it was his idea to do it. I can't tell you how many times I'm in the middle of something and I go, wait a minute. How did this happen? But then she convinces me, what was your idea? Okay. Moms are special. Another thing we see from this is moms are self-sacrificing. Yoshebed, as much as she loved her child and wanted to be with her child, and as much as it hurt to be separated from her child, she was willing to sacrifice what she felt she needed to make sure that he was provided for and he was taken care of. A mom will go hungry to ensure that there's enough food for the family. Mom will sacrificially budget the money to make sure that the kids have new clothes, even if it means she doesn't. Mom will time and time again put dad's needs ahead of her own, even though many times the gesture goes unrecognized or unappreciated. Mom will continue to sacrifice herself, not only for her children, but also for her spouse. A mom gives sacrificially not because she's looking for praise, but because she loves her family. That's the only thing mom wants. Mom will do this over and over and over again, sacrificing to make sure that her children are provided for, just because she loves them, not because she's wanting any kind of recognition from it down the road. We also see that moms love unconditionally. You can't do anything to earn a mom's love. A mom loves because you're her child. It's like the little boy said, why do you think God gave you the mom you got? Well, because my mom likes me better than everybody else's mom. Well, it's true. Your child is special to you above everybody else's. There's no other child like yours. Why? Because you're looking at that child through a mother's eyes. That child is special because of that reason. There's nothing you can do. You can't do enough, you can't achieve enough to earn a mom's love. It's just a mom love because that's her child. But you know what? You also can't do anything to lose a mom's love. The same way you can't earn it, you can't lose it. It doesn't matter what you do. There may be times in life that you may disappoint mom. There may be times that you make choices that mom would have preferred you may have done a little differently. Mom never quits loving. Mom loves unconditionally because you're a gift from God. You're her child. So we see that moms always have the ability to love no matter what. The fifth point I want you to see this morning in this is that moms understand that they must entrust their children to God. Jochebed understood, if I keep him and try to take care of him myself, he's eventually going to be found and Pharaoh's going to have him killed. She had to release this child into God's care. Can you imagine taking your child, putting him in a basket, and setting him afloat? She stepped out on pure faith. She said, I'm going to have to trust God with this child. Well, guess what, parents? Every one of us have to basically set our children adrift at some point in time. We have to take our hands off and trust that God is going to be there with our children. It's the hardest thing in the world, and the hardest part about parenting is knowing when to let go. Knowing when to take our hands off. You see, moms have an ability to entrust their children to God, but they do it through prayer. They do it through faith in God. They have faith in God that He's going to protect these children. They pray and have faith that God is going to give direction to their children. And they pray and have faith that God is going to deliver their children through the storms of life. You see, it's not easy to be a mom and entrust our families to God. But again, we do it through prayer, we do it through faith, but we also do it through release. To truly entrust your children to God, mom must first release those children to God. In other words, moms must sometimes allow their children to fall down, and that's not easy. That's probably the hardest thing, is letting a child fall. I know that was a hard thing, when I was teaching Laura how to ride a bicycle, and, she'd keep looking back. Don't let go. Don't let go. Don't let go. At some point, you got to let go. They're never going to ride. And then she rode a little ways and fell over. She turned around and looked at me. She said, "You let go." At some point, you have to let go or they never can get anywhere. But it's knowing when and how and being able to trust God. Parents, sometimes we have to let our children fall. When we fall down, we learn to rely on God. When we step back and allow our children not to so much rely on us, but stumble a little bit themselves, then they have to rely on God. Moms have to learn, just like dads and all parents, that at some point we have to maybe let our children fall so they can learn how to walk and truly be able to rely and trust on God in this life. And the last point I want you to see this morning, and it's one that I had trouble with for a long time just as a parent, but I also had trouble as a child understanding. Moms never retire from the position of mom. It doesn't matter how old the children are. I can remember my mom saying things, I would go see her in Tennessee and I'd go to leave and she'd start, "Make sure you got your seatbelt on, make sure you got this, make sure you do this, make sure," and I'm sitting there, I'm a grown man. I know all these things, Mom. I'm going to be fine. Well, guess what? One day I had children. And they're adults now and I'm sitting there, "Be sure you put your seatbelt on, make sure you do this, make sure you do that." We become our mothers, but I realize the same way we worry about our children when they're first born and they're infants and they first start school and they begin to go through the first crisis in their young lives, and the way we worry about them then, it doesn't change when they get older. I was sitting and talking with a man a few years ago, Mr. Brown, a very dear friend that I grew up next door to. He lost his son in a motorcycle accident years and years ago. His son was probably early 20s at the time. And a few years ago, he lost his daughter. She was about 63, 64 at the time, to cancer. And I'm standing there with him. He's in his 90s there, and he said, "You know what? It doesn't matter what the age of the child is." He said it like killed me when I lost my son at that early age. And he said, "My daughter, she's got grandchildren of her own now, and he said she was still my daughter. It hurt just as much. It doesn't change. You know, as our children grow up, they're still our children. You know, mom's still mom. Mom never retires. Mom is always going to be mom. And mom's children, guess what? They're always going to be mom's children. It doesn't matter how old you are, you're still mom's children. And I know sometimes we get impatient with mom and we think, I sure wish mom would quit riding my back. I'm a grown man, I'm a grown woman, I know what I'm doing, this is my family, I know how to handle. Mom's still being mom. It didn't stop because we're grown. And the sad thing is that some years down the road, and a lot here already know this, we start saying, I sure wish I was hearing mom complaining. I sure wish I had mom still riding me because I miss my mom. Because mom, even though, you know, at the time it may have seemed maybe even overbearing, mom's really, she's staying with me, she's always telling me what I need to do. I know mom was doing it because she loves me. We need to remember, again, our moms never retire. Mom is always mom, and as a child, you're always going to be mom's child. It doesn't matter if you're 8, 18, 68, it doesn't matter. You're still mom's child. And she still looks at you the same way that you look at your small children. It doesn't ever change. This morning, we want our moms to know how special they are to us. I'm going to ask the children, all the children who've got a mom here, I want them to come down front first. Get all the children down that want to come. We've got some roses that we want to give our moms and let our moms know how much we love and appreciate them. I'm going to ask you guys if y'all will take one to your mom, and then I'm going to get you to pass them around to the other ladies. Y'all can go ahead and start. Well, I want y'all to go around and find some of the other ladies and make sure every lady's got a rose. We got all the moms? No, we got. We had a great breakfast this morning. I want to thank the men that came up and helped and did so much work this morning, prepared the breakfast. Had a great time this morning. Again, we just want to let the moms know how much we appreciate you. And we love you, and we're so thankful for you. Men, y'all let the ladies know how much we appreciate you. All that they do. Brother Rail, I see you here. There you are. As we prepare to close this morning, again, I want to remind you we're not having services tonight. I want to encourage everyone to spend some time with Mom and enjoy those times. I wish, my mom lives in Tennessee. I did not get to be with her. Got to talk to her this morning, but enjoy your mom. Cherish those times. Men, with your wife, she's a mother of your children. Make it special today. Spend some time with your wife. Let her know how blessed you are to have her in your life. Would you please stand? We prepare to close this morning.
Just as I am.